right, guys. Well, first of all, happy new month. It's the 1st of August. We are here at the MKO Abiola National Stadium, the nation's capital. And of course, right behind me, you can see some of the protesters have already gathered here. They've been here since about 7:30 a.m. In the morning. Of course, why are we here, guys? It's because yesterday, the governor of the FCT, beg your pardon, we call him the governor of the FCT here in the nation's capital, but the minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, had approached a federal high court demanding that protesters should not go beyond the MKO Abiola Stadium for this protest, because earlier the protesters had slated that they will be at the Eagle Square in the center of Abuja. Now, of course, for context, why perhaps did the minister go for that ex parte injunction? It's because the Eagle Square is a center of the three arms zone. On its left and its right are the federal secretariats. In front of it is the National Assembly, and adjacent it is the Supreme Court, and of course the presidential villa. So understandably, if the minister was saying that he's not sure that the protesters gathering there would be safe for the FCT. But one thing that is instructive that I would like to read to you guys is that in that injunction gotten by the FCT minister, the FCT minister claimed that when he contacted security agencies to ensure that the planned protest did not degenerate into criminality and disturbance of public peace, he says the police said that they were not well equipped to manage any crisis that may arise from the planned protest. So it's a situation where we don't understand what the police means by that, because this issue had been on for about almost 2 weeks, where the protesters said they were going on strike. So the police saying they did not perhaps know if they'll be able to protect protesters if anything happens is perhaps something that we don't understand. But of course, the protest is live here at the MKO Abiola Stadium. Briefly, I'm going to bring in my guest. But before I do that, I spoke to some of the protesters this morning, and the list of demands are quite astonishing. Of course, I put them into 3 layers. Layer 1 is electricity tariff hike. It should go down. Fuel subsidy removal should go down. Food inflation, that's hunger in the land, is a big problem. Also, insecurity, and of course, the cost of governance. That's layer 1 for me. Now, layer 2 is they're demanding that any of the NSAS protesters that are still in jail should be released. Also, they're demanding for credible electoral reforms. Specifically, they mentioned that the IREV must work this time around in a situation whereby INEC said that the IREV was shut down for some glitches in their system. They're saying the next elections must go smoothly, and of course the IREV must work. So they want the National Assembly to alter the 2022 Electoral Amendment Act to ensure that the IREV is mandated for elections. Also, they talked about the release of all journalists that have been detained by either this present administration or the previous administration. Also, they're asking the federal government to declare a war on education, a state of emergency on education and the health sector at this time around. Of course, and then we go to layer 3. They are demanding for a constitutional reform at this time and saying that they want the constitution to give room for referendum so that Nigerians can at any point in time decide what they want to do with the country, guys.
Hello, Dele. Quite a list there, and we've cited some of them, in fact, prior to this time online. But I wonder if we've been able to interact with leaders of the protesters or the mobilizers at this time. Let's find out, are these the protesters under the Take It Back?
To some of their leaders.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Dele.
Well, I've spoken to some of their leaders. As a matter of fact, one of them is here with me. Her name is Adams Asmao. She's one of the coordinators of Take It Back. Good morning, Adams.
Good morning, Channels.
Okay, so we've heard about some of the demands that you have made here, and you've been here as early as 7:30 a.m. Have the security agencies been cooperative with you guys?
So far, they tried to confine us inside the stadium, but of course, we are not going to let them do that. They brought out a valid, an invalid court order telling us to go inside the stadium, and we are here for now. It's peaceful. They've come. We've addressed them. They've addressed addressed us. We've had our conversations. So far, so good. They are still cooperating, and everywhere is peaceful. And of course, the youth are also complying.
Okay, so at this time, since there's a bit of compliance, are you thinking of leaving this particular area and moving into the city center, or you're going to stay right here?
Okay, we are looking at moving into the city center because that is where we are going to end. We are looking at going to the Eagle Island because that's supposedly that is where we are supposed to do our protest. But so far, we are still waiting for other people to join us, and this place is quite conducive for now. But if there's any threat to anybody's life or anything, I think we are going to move. But for now, we are okay here for now. For now, at least for the morning.
Okay, thank you very much, Adams. So guys, well, they said the police did indeed show them that court injunction, and I just read out that the FCT minister went to the Federal High Court to get very late last night. Of course, correspondent at the courts, Emanuela Ekele, did report about that particular court injunction, guys.
All right, Dele, a quick one. I wanted to find out from you, before we head out from Abuja to other locations, did the people, when you spoke to them, did anybody mention how long they intend to stay on the streets? Because, you know, it's supposed to be 10 or 15 days. Adegboruwa, who is a lawyer, has said they should cut it down to one, maximum of 3 days. What have you heard in that direction?
Okay, so yes, indeed. I spoke to one of the leaders of the protest earlier, around 30 minutes ago, and he did say that, well, of course, they are meeting together. The leaders of the protest, they are meeting together. And if you remember, that court injunction joined quite a number of people from Omowale Sowore, Adegboruwa Hassan, and about 5 of them. So they are meeting together, and then they will decide whether the protest has had the effect that they want it to have. But of course, I have one of them right here with me, and then I'm going to talk to him just right now. Deji Adeyanju is a lawyer and a human rights activist. Deji, good morning. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm very well indeed. Thank you.
Okay, so I did ask one of your colleagues that take it back. How cooperative has the police been in this protest?
So far, they've been very cooperative, and we're having this synergy with them of how to conduct the protest peacefully. We are supposed to be at the Eagle Square, but the government has denied us entrance to Eagle Square. As law-abiding citizens, we didn't want to go to the Eagle Square and confront security agencies. So we have elected, and you know that there's a positive interim order of a court that was validly made. And as law-abiding citizens, we have advised the organizers, also as lawyers, that we must respect the order of the court, no matter how uncomfortable the order may be. So, and that is why we have converged here. Definitely, this protest is for 10 days, and the idea is to make it as peaceful as possible, and also to provide guidance, because many of us have been at this for almost 29 years. We have been doing this for a long time. So the idea is to talk to the citizens and also guide them to make sure that the protest is as peaceful as possible. Because while the protest does not have leadership, many of us will be providing our guidance to the protesters.
Now, talking about leadership, my colleagues in the studio want to know. There was a statement by Adegboruwa Hassan yesterday that they should limit the number of days.
He does not represent the leadership of the protest. He's not a member of the protest. He's not an organizer of the protest. He just offered to give the Take It Back movement voluntary legal services, which that is all he did in the matter. So he cannot dictate to the protesters what, when, and how they should conduct themselves.
Okay, finally,
our goal here, our role here, is to make sure that we help the protesters so that they are as peaceful as possible and that the protest does not degenerate.
Okay, so one final question. Okay. Thank you, Deji. Thank you so much. Right, guys, there you have it.
Oh, all right, yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much, Dele.